Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about 10 secret features, hidden details, and things you might not know about the Grand Theft Auto Online import and export DLC. That's right, we're going to be continuing this series that you guys have shown a lot of support on, talking about 10 new things that you might not know in Grand Theft Auto Online, as well as we're going to have 2 bonus features at the end. So stay tuned for that as well. I guess this is also a great time to remind you as well that I have a shark card giveaway going on my Twitter. I haven't really mentioned this other than at the very end of one of my live streams. I'm giving away $3.5 million, and that's actually going to be ending tomorrow. So you've only really got one more day to enter it, so I'll leave those details in the description so you can check it out if you want. But without the way, let's not waste any more time and let's jump straight into this. The first new feature we're going to be looking at today actually revolves around the Ruiner 2000. So we know the Ruiner 2000 has a ton of amazing features. We've talked about them in previous videos, but one you might not know, it actually still works while being cargo bobbed, which is interesting because in a second, not all the vehicles do. So what's actually really funny about this is you can almost make this like a makeshift flying missile launcher if someone has a cargo bob and if someone picks you up, because we do know that the range is limited on the Ruiner 2000. It's worse than jets and it's worse than helicopters. So what way could you get the Ruiner 2000 closer to hydras and planes and whatnot? Well, you could use the cargo bob and all of its functions and features work. Well, I shouldn't say all of them because you can't use the parachute and you can't use the jumping ability. Apparently your wheels have to be on the ground for that sort of thing to work, but you can use the missiles, lock on and non-lock on, and you can also use the machine guns as well. So if you want to create like this mobile missile shooter with the Ruiner 2000, you can, and it can be cargo bobbed as well, which I think is a really funny feature. Now, the reason I said that was worthwhile mentioning is because the second thing we're going to be talking about today revolves around the rocket Voltic being cargo bobbed. And one of the things we tried on my live stream the other day was, will we be able to use the cargo bob with the rocket Voltic? Meaning, like, could you like use the boost and it send the cargo bob flying or send you flying off the hook? And unfortunately, that is not the case. While you're attached to the tow hook, you cannot use the rocket booster thrust on the back. But one way you can get around this is if you you're dropped from the cargo bob, you can immediately use the boost and you can still go pretty far flying in the air. So I'm not sure why Rockstar doesn't allow us to use the boost while we're hooked here. That would have been obviously super cool and a lot of fun to do, but nonetheless, we can still have a ton of fun with this rocket Voltic. I guess when we're dropped off from, 10,000 feet in the air and we go spiraling to the ground with our rocket boost and whatnot. Now, something else that's kind of interesting that I found out about the coil rocket Voltic is that it will not recover its rocket thruster until it reaches the ground, until all 4 wheels are on the ground. So I was trying a really weird challenge. I was seeing if I could, essentially vertically climb up a building in the rocket Voltic, and obviously I failed, but I noticed on my way to the ground that I wasn't recovering any boost. And even when I hit the ground, I was flipped upside down, kind of like a turtle, and I wasn't recovering boost until all 4 wheels landed on the ground. So that seems to be the secret trick with the rocket Voltic, is that it will not recover its rocket thruster boost unless all 4 wheels touches the ground. Now, I'm sure Rockstar did this to prevent people from boosting like a rocket ship all over the map, but it still would have been super cool to have the thruster boost respawn while you're in mid-air. So again, I'm not sure why they put that limitation on there, but that is something interesting to note and did kind of have an impact on my challenges and might have an impact on some things you're trying to do. All right, moving on to the next secret feature. Did you know that you don't have to pay the insurance on the rare special vehicles? That's right. So this is actually shocking to me considering these are probably the most expensive, but they're really weird because they're not personal vehicles and they're not Pegasus vehicles. They're these special vehicles. So what would Rockstar do for the insurance on them? Well, nothing. There is no insurance fee for the special vehicles. So I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing considering how volatile and hostile they are, or if it's a bad thing considering people can blow them up without, punishment or consequences or anything like that. So just know that if you or your friend or someone else blows up anyone's personal vehicle, they are not going to have to pay the insurance premium, which I guess could be nice if it's an accident, but as I mentioned earlier, for griefers, this might be a paradise for them. Up next, did you know that the mechanic will actually now text you when your car is delivered? So I actually couldn't believe this, and I didn't even know that this was a thing, but I actually got a tweet from CJ the Seedsman yesterday who said the mechanic now texts you. And this is his text. It looks like one of his cars just got delivered. And the mechanic said, "I've left your vehicle nearby for you." So I didn't know that. And I've never seen a message like this before. Maybe this is the ghost of Johnny on the spot telling us where he's dropped off our vehicle in a perfect placement. I'm really not too sure, but I thought that was super interesting. I'm really not too sure what the point of having the mechanic text you is when it's pretty clear when and where it's dropped off, even though it might not be in the best location half the time. You still have a good idea, but I guess now the mechanic is just going to text you. I'm guessing that's a thing he's going to be doing. Up next, so this is kind of a weird, interesting non-feature of the vehicle warehouse. So you know the vehicle warehouse has a bed, it has an area where you can change clothes. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't really do anything because you cannot set your spawn location to this place. So I thought that was super dumb. What's the point of having a bed and an area to change clothes if you can't make this the default spawn mission? You can make every other place you own a default spawn place, a yacht, an office, a garage, an apartment, but you can't make the vehicle warehouse a place where you can default spawn by. And I think that's kind of dumb because there's a lot of things that take place in here. You've obviously got the vehicle sourcing. It's where you grab your rare special vehicles. It's obviously a cool place where you can hang out with friends or crew members. So I'm once again not sure why Rockstar have really limited us here. And even though this place has a bed, and even though it has a place to change clothes and a computer and whatnot, there is no way to spawn in it, unlike the office and unlike the apartment and unlike the garage. Sadly, because it would have been so convenient to start in here, because that would have been awesome to just load up online, boom, you're in, and you can do one of the cell missions. And we don't have the chance to, unfortunately, spawn in there. So that's one of the weirdest things, I think, from this update. Another weird thing that I noticed from this update is you can actually steal cars in passive mode. Now, a lot of you guys might be saying, Mr. Boss the Win, what do you mean steal cars in passive mode? I'm talking about when other players are doing a car stealing mission. You know how you have the option to return it to your warehouse or bring it to the police? You can do that in passive mode. So I don't know how you would get their car in passive mode without killing them. You would have to like rip them out or they'd have to be AFK, but the feature still remains. You can take someone's car in passive mode, and once you're in passive mode, they have no chance of getting that car back. So I think this is one of those glitches and bugs that is still going on with the vehicle buying and selling missions. I know for a fact that Rockstar is well aware of these bugs and glitches, and I think this is another one added to the list. So just be careful of people roaming around in passive mode trying to steal your vehicle. I definitely recommend that you have at least one or two associates when doing the vehicle selling and stealing stuff, just in case something like this happens. Now, speaking of vehicle stealing and selling, did you know that you can only have a certain number of top range vehicles in your warehouse? So you guys know there's 3 tiers of cars. There's standard range, mid range, and top range. Well, a lot of people have been using the trick where they leave a lobby every time until they only get top range cars in their warehouse. But Rockstar has actually put a limit on how many cars you can get. So I don't know the exact number of what this is, but at some point in time, Rockstar will just stop giving you top range cars if you have a certain number of them already stored in your vehicle warehouse. So I guess this is a way of Rockstar just trying to prevent people from overloading on the richest and best cars, and they want to make sure you go through the normal cycle of getting some standard, some mid-range, and some top-range cars too. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your vehicle sourcing. Don't just only go after the top-range ones, because believe it or not, there's still a ton of, mid-range and standard range that fall into the collection. So go for those too, because you can make a lot of money selling those as well. Now that's a great segue into another secret feature. One of the things that happens when selling cars, one of the scenarios I should say, is that the car you're going after is in the middle of a race. And that is the most tricky one to get because obviously they're racing, they're going very fast. Well, what you can do during those races is you can actually block the start or the finish line with a big vehicle like a Cargo Bob or maybe even the Phantom Wedge. And what you can do with this is make the racers just completely stop. Because their path is blocked, they really don't know what to do, so they'll just stop and you can easily take the driver out. This is an example of what you could do right here with a Cargo Bob that was actually found on Reddit. So I thought that was very creative and showed off exactly what I would want to try with something like that. Because some of those stealing missions are super tricky. I mean, you've seen on my live streams, we've been chasing around NPCs for like 10 or 15 minutes trying to get a car, and sometimes it can be the biggest pain in the butt. So little tips and tricks like that can be very helpful. And speaking of little tips tips and tricks. If you want a great way to make money during the mission haulage, which is essentially where you have to take like a tractor trailer load to a certain location, well, you can now use the new Phantom Wedge to take this vehicle, and this will make things so easy because now you can just burrow everything out of the way. You don't have to worry about taking your time or making sure the trailer doesn't get hurt. Now you can just go full speed, full throttle on the highway, and you can use the Phantom Wedge to get everything out of your way and to make your haulage missions that much easier. So if you're looking for a great way to make a little bit of side cash, do the haulage mission and now do it with the Phantom Wedge. That's super convenient. All right, now we're going to be moving on to the bonus feature, and one of the first bonus features is that you can get a free $1.25 million in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, the only way to do this is to purchase something on the Rockstar warehouse. I'll leave links to that details in the description. So basically, you have to purchase a game from the Rockstar warehouse that's over $19.99 from now between December 21st, and you'll receive $1.25 million in Grand Theft Auto money. So if you know a Rockstar title that you like, or you want a Rockstar game, maybe an older one, but it's still over 20 bucks, maybe it's a good way in which you can get a free $1.25 million. So again, I'll leave a link to that in the description. And last but not least today, this one I thought was pretty awesome. One of the collection cars in Grand Theft Auto Online, it is a Massacro that has the license plate B055, which obviously is supposed to stand for boss. Now, a lot of people, believe it or not, have been asking me if Rockstar worked with me or something like that to put this vehicle in the game. Absolutely not. They did not in any way whatsoever. It's just a random tag that says boss. Is it really cool? Yes. And I want that one? Yes, because it's the boss plate and that is awesome. And I know for a fact that that probably wasn't because of me. I'm just a small little YouTuber. They're a giant company. But I still think it's cool that there's a Boss Massacre on there. I thought that was really awesome. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. 10 secret features, hidden details, and things you might not know about the brand new Grand Theft Auto Online Import and Export DLC. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video or learned a thing or two that you didn't know, be sure to drop a like rating. That would be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.